I don't know if my energy can match how crazy today's show is going to be. We have news on top of news. We have research from the steel-toed derangement syndrome lab. This one's going to be fucking crazy. This one's going to be fucking great. I'm going to address this one real quick because I had a good laugh at this one. So, apparently, you can have steel-toed derangement syndrome so bad. Now, I think a big part of steel-toed derangement syndrome is when you live vicariously through steel toe. It's remarkably unhealthy, but if it's all the circles you run in, you don't notice you have it. That's one thing we've learned from researching this disease. Now, if you go and you watch a live stream of a boxing class because you need Aaron content so bad, I got bad news, guys. You got it real bad. So yesterday, I talked to Scott, and I talked to Scott about the appeal thing, which I'm guessing, I've talked to the Safe Sport people. I'm guessing we should have it done in a couple of weeks. It's going to be cutting it real close to that February 22nd thing, but it sounds like the whole thing, we got it. What I'm really hoping we can do is get a temporary lifting of it while it's being investigated, while they call everybody who wrote letters on my behalf. Because at the end of this rainbow is the whole thing gets lifted, we're good, we can go again. But it's like, it's annoying because it's like dealing with the government. So I'm talking with Scott yesterday, and Scott goes, God damn it, man. He goes, kind of this here. I'm like, well, no shit, I want to get it removed. He's like, all right, I'll make some calls, you make some calls. So we start making some calls, and they're like, I swear we're going as fast as we can. So then I called Scott later in the day, and I'm like, Scott, I can't, like, work up a sweat or, like, elevate my heart rate without my lungs acting up and me coughing my balls off. Not going to be working out today. He goes, that's all right. He said, that might help us. He said, while this whole thing is being looked into, if you're sick anyway, he goes, just stay home. Don't come to anything. And maybe it makes the whole process work faster. I'm like, okay. Because he's dealt with this before. He's had like 3 guys go through this same thing. And he said at the end of the thing, it always gets overturned. They just got to do, as he says, due diligence. So yesterday, Scott is giving one of his patented, like, fire up pre-practice speeches. We've all been yelled at in a pre-practice Scott speech. So in this one, Doom clipped it. And I'm like, oh boy, this must be really bad. And I watched the speech and I'm like, this is nothing. I'm like, I was a little disappointed because usually when people clip something, they got something, especially Doom. And I watched this one and I'm like, this is a nothing burger. That's my boy Scott. Fired up his before a practice. And he goes, Aaron really f***ed us. And I'm like, yep, that's Scott and I literally had that conversation that day. People were getting fired up. They're like, this is it. This is the thing we finally got. And I watched it with all these expectations. And I'm like, that's it? That's the best you guys got? So it turned into part of my research for steel-toed derangement syndrome. Scott was fired up before practice. Scott and I talk every day, and we'll talk again today. I didn't think it could be more of a nothing burger. But then I realized, A, if you've got steel-toed derangement syndrome, you just watch shit differently. But then also a lot of these guys, I think, with steel-toed derangement syndrome don't have dads. Like they don't have a lot of male interaction, and they don't have a lot of that fire up. And a lot of them probably didn't do a lot of sports stuff. Like yelling and screaming and vitriol and passion and all that, that's all part of the deal. You know? That's just all part of the deal. So it wasn't supposed to be steel-toed derangement syndrome research, but it did turn into steel-toed derangement syndrome research. I have to let you know, no matter how much you think you're just doing this for fun, you're watching a live stream of a small town's boxing practice because you need more Aaron. You have an affliction. We've diagnosed it. It's steel-toed derangement syndrome. Now you can work on treating yourself. Or you can get to full-blown AIDS, which is Aaron Imholt derangement syndrome. So, video doesn't really change anything. Talk to Scott again today. As soon as this process is over, I can get back to work, and I'm really excited. Still go to the gym. I can still get my work in. I can still train and do all that stuff. It's just, come on. Let's get this shit done. We know what the end of this is. Let's just get to that part. The only thing is when they call you, you can't be like that. When they call me, I'm very, yes, sir, no, sir, you know, this and that. You can't be like, hey, come on, let's go, you know? I believe in the business, they call it playing the game. So that's the latest update. It did turn into steel-toe derangement syndrome research. Jack Cat with $5. Oh, my God, Jack Cat, you are losing it. Losing it. They're losing their minds. Balls Deep says all fatherless. Yeah, I think a lot of it's fatherlessness. I think that's a big part of it. They'll be all right. They'll get over it. They need their dad. They need steel toe. I think that's part of steel toe derangement syndrome. I think there's a little bit of a daddy complex in there. What I don't understand is why don't they understand counter trolling? Like when I do this and I smile at them and I talk shit to them, they go in a chat and they go, you piece of shit, you're a garbage human being. Dude, I'm just with you. Like it's really super light teasing and saying you have a disease that, by the way, doesn't exist. This is the funniest part about these people. You can tell them exactly what you're doing. Somebody tweeted this at me yesterday. They're like, you know what's amazing is you trigger the f out of these people. Meanwhile, you tell them exactly what you're doing while you're doing it. It's easy money, man. It's really easy money. I think a lot of the people aimlessly seething in the chat, I don't think they realize, and again, I've done the research. I've done the studies. I don't think they realize how sad and pathetic it is to show up in someone's chat at 6 a.m. and then pretend you totally don't need them. Especially to go, look, and you go, yep, I've had that conversation with that person privately already. They're like, no, look at it. And I'm like, yeah, that's what's going on. Be upset. No, it's going to be fine. Come on, you're just coping. You're getting up at 6 in the morning to shout at me. I really don't. Again, now that I've put the lab coat on and I get it, I understand it's a disease, so I should be a little nicer. But you guys are inflicted. I am going to fulfill my promise in a little bit that if you guys knocked out all the goals and you fully funded steel-toe derangement syndrome research, I would wear Eagles shit on Friday's show. I will put on the Mike Vick Eagles jersey that Bone Cold Fleas Austin brought me. I kind of had a little PTSD because Bone Cold like banged at my door this morning, like really loud. I'm like, oh shit, I'm getting arrested. Actually, that's not true. When they came, they were very nice and very polite, and you know, it was we had set everything up in advance, and they were there, and I was ready to go. But they treated me like a rich white guy. I actually look pretty good in Eagle Green. Oh no! Although I did leave my maroon T-shirt on underneath, so that doesn't look the greatest. But look at that. Daddy's in a large. Pulling it off. And again, if this makes you write hateful things or makes you really shit, you have a mental disorder. It's literally a guy laughing and having fun that a large jersey fits him well. Just try to take it easy. Again, take your medicine, lay down for a little bit. You'll feel better. Well, I mean, look, the end result was you got a very nice camera. And now you look like a weird dating game host. It's very nice.
Are they hiring? I'll take it.
I actually, I'm in the same boat you are until next Thursday. I am YouTubeless.
Why? What happened to you?
This happens to our channel like once a year. I don't know if YouTube does a sweep, like there's a bot sweep or something, but they catch something from like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and they go, well, this is against our terms, and, you know, we get a 7-day deal. We've done this probably like 5-6 times, and Rumble's always awesome when we do it. But there was a video where we were celebrating Elisa Jordana getting arrested, and we were celebrating because her, what do you call it? Her Discord, her community was responsible for doxing and swatting us. So when she got arrested, I was really happy about it, and I leaned in, and I appealed it, and they denied the appeal, but it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm not too upset about it because I'm like, yeah, we did go kind of hard on that one. Like, it was justified, but, like, YouTube doesn't give a f***. It's like I could see where, we leaned in a little bit. It violated their harassment policy or whatever.